For my first impressions of the DJI FPV, there was some really cool stuff, but there was a lot of stuff I found very turn off. So the unboxing was awesome. I got the quad, I got an extra battery with it, and I got the DJI backpack, an SD card, an SD card reader, and that was it for the package. And that came from eBay. It was pretty cool, brand new. From Amazon, I ordered 2 more sets of extra DJI FPV props, and then, yeah, 2 sets of them. And there's 2 sets that come included in the box, which is pretty nice. And then I ordered the arm braces. That was pretty cool. That was off of Amazon, and so were the prop blades. And also off of Amazon was this camera bumper guard. And so I got that as well, just to protect if there are any front crashes or hitting something too hard. So I thought that looks pretty cool, and it protects the drone nicely. So again, the unboxing was fun. I haven't flown any other FPV drones. I've flown 2 before, and they were nothing like this. And I fly them occasionally, actually pretty often, but again, nothing like this. No goggles or anything. So the important thing to note is that you have to charge before you fly. Out of the box, nothing is charged enough where I would recommend flying. So I mean, the battery only takes like about 50 minutes to charge, so it's not too bad because there's a lot of stuff you actually need to do in the meantime for that. So while your battery, the main battery for the drone, is charging, you should briefly look at the instructions on how to turn it on. The baby instruction book is just enough to get it in the air. You need to press everything is really synchronized. So everything comes fully synced. You don't need to bind anything when it comes if you buy the kit. But if you press the power button once and then you quickly release and press and hold, so press and then press and hold, that'll turn the battery on for everything. That powers everything. First, I think you want to turn the drone on, and then the goggles, and then the actual remote, but I'm not 100% sure, though I saw those steps in the manual, so I'll have to look over that again. Now, instructions on how to get the permit for the authorization zone kinda suck. So, good thing I made a video on actually how to do this. It'll take 5 to 15 minutes tops. I would say about 10 minutes, and that's it. You need to get a permit for the authorization zone in your area. And if you want to check if you need a permit for where you fly, the DJI Fly Now app is actually really good with the authentication zone. You just open the app and you click it, and you can see what zone you're in. So you can apply online through the DJI website. Again, there's a whole video on that, so I'm not going to go into it. And it's good to do this while everything is charging, because you got to do it anyways. After that, you have to sync the permit with the drone. You can do this in the DJI app. That's again in the video. So that is about it for the actual geo zone. It's pretty simple once you understand it. Again, video on that because the instructions I found were not clear. Also, through all my watching of videos from other people and reading of stuff about this drone, never knew anything about that. So that was a big surprise for me. Although it is easy, again, just the instructions are very lackluster. Now, I don't know if I'm binding this wrong, but the goggles, they have an issue when I'm flying through like my neighborhood. And there is a lot of trees in the neighborhood, and I'm flying quite far out, but the goggle will stop reporting like the speed. So in the goggles at the very bottom, you can see the speed, you can see how fast you're going up, how fast you're going straight, the distance, your height, the battery levels, all of that stuff. The battery levels are super important for me, and also my height, and also the distance, and the receiver, and the RC, and the goggle signal. However, if I fly out far and the connection kind of gets interrupted, I'll come back. However, after I come back, the goggle information will still not update. It'll be kind of lagging behind. Even the gimbal, I can use the drone perfectly fine. It's just updating, like the actual heads-up display inside of it. The information is not up to date, and it's actually very scary, especially for someone that's never flown FPV before. And flying it here in this parking lot, I was totally fine from what I remember. It was just around my neighborhood. So coming from a perfect experience in this parking lot to a not perfect experience in my neighborhood near more like trees and stuff got me pretty scared. So that is something I guess I have to read more into with the goggles. Maybe there's a setting for enhanced feed with the information. So I'll have to look at that. But from what I've seen with the quick start guide and the other manual that's included in it, I couldn't really find anything about it. So I'll have to explore that more on my own. So the reason why I said it was scary was because when I was flying through my residential area, it did the return to home for the battery when it was low, but I thought that it does that at 40% and then it does it again at 20%. I guess I was wrong because it did the first return to home and I was like, okay, it'll return to home. So I keep flying, I'm flying close, and then it does like a return to home again, and then I say, okay, it's done, and I start flying back. As I'm flying back, the goggles again are not updating information, and I notice I'm slowly descending with no input of my own. So I'm able to pull the drone up, which is nice. It doesn't just like go straight down. I'm able to pull the drone up. However, again, this is super scary for someone that's never flown FPV before, never flown a DJI drone. So that's really scary, the fact that the goggles weren't updating. I was able to make it back safely, but again, in the goggles, it displayed I was at 60%. Then I landed the drone, just did some things on my phone, put the goggles back on really quick, and it said I was at 0% critical battery. So I'll have to contact DJI if that problem persists. I also wish the goggle settings, because there's not really much in the way of instructions that come with it. I wish the menu was a little bit laid out better. The layout is totally fine. I just wish there were a little bit more descriptions whenever you clicked on something to change, because there are some things that are very obvious, very clear, but there are a few other ones that I am quite unsure about and will have to play around myself. Once everything is charged, you're going to have to do 1 or 2 firmware updates. Now, the battery for everything has to be on, your app has to be open, so make sure everything, including your phone, is charged. So you're going to have just a couple software updates. I, in fact, think that every time you pop in a new battery, at least for the second battery that I got, you have to do a firmware update on the battery. So everything is going to get updated. The time for this will depend on your internet strength. So do this close to a router or something. That way you get a super speedy download and you can take off flying after that. So once everything is charged, once your geo permit zone, if you need it, is authenticated, again, this doesn't take that much time. The main thing is charging everything, and all your updates are done. Then you can actually just fly the drone. My first flight was amazing. The camera through the goggles was so clear. It was insanely clear. I could see everything, and I really felt like I was flying. I never experienced anything like this before. The goggles, again, when they work, I have to experiment with that more, because it might just be the frequency loss or something with all the trees in the neighborhood, but flying it here over like the lake and some land without any interference, the heads-up display was awesome, very accurate, and everything was just amazing. Very, very low latency. I had no issues with it. The video here is just a test flight. It was actually my first flight of the drone, and this is next to some fields, shopping outlet, food outlet. The signal, again, was great. The flying experience was great. There were a lot of birds here when we got there, so I actually had to wait for them to clear out, and I was a little bit nervous, so I flew low a little bit at first, but quickly just went into sport mode and went 60, just going over the fields. It was such an amazing feeling, such a beautiful sight. Again, no issues here. Now, the batteries did not last as long as I expected to. DJI says they're for 20 minutes. I find that not true remotely whatsoever. Even flying in normal mode, I don't get anywhere near 20 minutes. I love sport mode. It's fast, it's nice, it's still safe relatively. And I get about 5 to 7 minutes, which I believe is still good for an FPV drone. But again, 5 to 7 minutes is not a lot of flight time, especially when it originally only comes with 2 batteries. I do have a Fly More kit coming, so I have a total of 4 batteries, and I want to get another Fly More kit. So hopefully 6 batteries, that'll net me about at least 30 minutes, I'm hoping. The only thing is that it's going to take 50 minutes to charge each battery. It only comes with 1 AC to DC power adapter, and so I bought more off of eBay. I bought 2 more. So I'll have 3 AC to DC power adapters. I'll be able to charge multiple batteries at once. Also, I have that Fly More kit, which comes with the multiple battery charger. So that should be pretty good. I also brought a portable lithium-ion power bank. I believe it's like 1600 watts, and these take about 40 or something, these batteries. So I did the math earlier. Yeah, they take about like 40 watts, I believe. And based on me not draining the battery entirely, I fly to about 20%. I should be able to get like 4, maybe 6, not 6 obviously, because that's 240 watts. I'll be able to get a significant amount of charges when I'm on the go, though the battery bank is pretty heavy. The fact that it only takes 15 minutes to charge is pretty nice though. My other drones take about 2 hours or 3 hours to charge. They do get about 10 minutes actually. They're rated for 15, but they get about 7 to 10 minutes of flight time as well. So this is definitely much better. I have no problem with the battery charging. I believe these are also smart batteries, so I feel a lot safer leaving these LiPo batteries charging, though I don't just leave them charging unattended. So for someone who's never flown with goggles, never flown with such a clear camera, never flown FPV, never had a drone this nice, this was amazing for me, and it was such a beautiful picture to get so close to my eyes with the goggles. The goggles are awesome. It's not that heavy either. The drone is pretty heavy. Also, it is pretty loud. The startup sound is so cool, but in the air, it is loud. It is extremely loud, so you're not going to want to fly it super early in the morning, super late at night. You can't even fly it super late at night because it's not a night camera, so you can't even see. The sensors work nicely. And the goggles, when you get too close to something, there's a little red bar on top, a little orange bar if you're slightly close, and otherwise it's clear. So again, the HUD is great. Everything is great. I really love this drone. I can't wait to fly it more. It looks so cool. I've gotten so many people that have come up to me and asked about it, and it's a pretty exciting. The whole process is very streamlined to get it up in the air once you've done the first initial charge, firmware updates, and just familiarizing yourself with the drone. I only stayed in normal mode for a little bit and felt super comfortable going straight into sport mode, and this is from someone that's never flown it before. So the quad's name is called Beetle. The little remote is called Sharky because the antenna looks like it has a shark fin, and the goggles look like a praying mantis, therefore they're the mantis. So I love this and I can't wait to fly it more. Another thing I found insanely weird was that when I was going through the setup process, it was in English, but for no reason it just switched to Chinese. Even though it switched back to English, I was super confused. Wasn't a huge deal. I just freaked out that I did something, though I believe it was the app, and I've seen other people with similar issues to this. So that is something that just to be noted about. It's not a big deal, unless it, of course, does not change back to the preferred language.